Hi there, it's Hannah the Artisan Duck, and I'm going to show you today how to make this really easy wire heart necklace. So to get started, I've cut my pieces of wire for my hearts. Each heart is 1.5 inches long. That's how much wire I've cut, which is roughly 4 centimeters. And I'm using a 1mm wire today, and that's 18 gauge. You could use a slightly thinner wire if you wanted to, so go down to a 20 gauge. But this is what I have to hand, and I quite like sort of the weight of it and how chunky it makes the hearts. So I'm going to bring in my round nose pliers, and I'm going to position one end of my wire so that it's flush with the sort of the outer edge of the pliers, and I'm going reasonably near the top because I want quite a big loop when I've rolled this. So I think that's where I'm going to have it, and I'm simply going to push against my thumb to help roll this wire. My wire is actually quite hard, it is not soft at all, so your wire may be softer than mine. And I'm just going to turn my pliers, and I sort of twist and then reposition so I don't have to keep twisting round, and I'm just going to roll all the way until my sort of end of my wire meets the straighter piece, like that. If it's twisted ever so slightly, you can just go in and just position it so that is sitting right on top of the flat piece. There we go. Once you're happy with that one, you're going to go ahead and position the other end of the wire in the same position on your pliers, and you need to make sure that the previous loop is facing upwards so that when we roll the next loop, they're going to be sort of sitting in exactly the same position. So I'm just going to check my positioning and then roll this side as well. I'm going to turn, I'm going to twist and reposition and keep going until I've formed my loop. There we go, I've got both of my loops and they're looking nice and even. So I'm just going to now use my round nose pliers, and I'm going to find the center point along that wire. You could measure it if you were so inclined, but I don't. I just sort of judge it by eye, and I think that looks good. So now you're going to just squeeze the length of wire together so these two loops meet in the middle. Like I say, my wire is really hard, so mine requires quite a lot of force. So just keep squeezing until those two loops meet. And if you sort of, mine's just sort of shot over a little bit, just bring in your pliers and you can just reposition them almost like you would a jump ring if you're opening and closing a jump ring, just to make them sit alongside each other like that. And there is your basic heart shape. My wire is really hard, so if your wire is hard like mine, you could leave it at this point. You don't need to hammer it or anything. It is sturdy and it's not going to move. But you might want to hammer it if your wire is softer and you want to harden it, or if you'd like to texture it, which is what I'm going to do. So I have got my block, my heart and my hammer, and I'm just going to go in very quickly with the flat end just to start this off. I won't make you watch all this bit because it's a bit noisy, it might be a bit tedious, so I'll pop back when that's done. So you can see that's flattened that wire out slightly and it's given it a really nice shiny finish. I'm just going to go ahead and texture it. So I'm going to put that back down. I'm going to use the round end on my hammer and just gently sort of tap away until I've got the texture I like. And I like to do this because I think it catches the light in a very different way, which I really like. But you don't have to do this step. You can stop on the previous step if you'd like. So that's been textured now. I'm not sure it's coming across very well on my camera, but that's sort of just a flat, smooth side, and that one has a little bit of texture added, and it's still really shiny, which I like. So I'm just going to go in now with my round nose pliers, and I'm just going to tighten up the coil because it's sort of spread open a bit as I've hammered. So I'm just going to hold the loop and sort of twist around just to draw those two pieces back together, and I'm going to do it on the other side as well. And just sort of squeeze if it will go any further together in the middle. There we go, like that. Now you could leave it like that if you like, but I'm going to add one more step, which is to join the two sides of the heart together with some much thinner wire. So I've got, this is a 0.4mm wire, which I believe is 26 gauge. So this is really thin and very soft to use. I'm just going to feed it through one of my loops and bend it. Just want to get this started, and I tend to hold sort of the tail of the wire down there, and I'm going to use my pliers. I find it much easier to use my pliers for this bit. So I'm going to feed it through the loop on the other side and pull, and I'm just going to keep wrapping. I'm going to do 4 loops, so you can see 4 little stripes of metal on the front of my heart, just so I can keep it consistent with the other ones in the necklace. I'm going to take that up, I'm going to bring my pliers in and pull, and I like to just go in from the back as well and sort of squash it to make sure that that metal, that wire, is sitting flat at the back as well. So I'm going to go off and wrap this twice more and come back and show you what it looks like. So I've wrapped that around 4 times, and I'm just going to go in and just make sure that it's all sitting nicely, and I like to squeeze front and back like that just to make sure there's no lumps and bumps at the back as well. I'm going to bring in my wire cutters, and I'm going to just snip off the excess as close as I can to the inside of that heart. Just do the other one as well. You just want to flatten the cut edges of the wire just so they're not sticking up, and you can run your finger over the back and see if it's smooth or not. Your heart should look a little like this once you're done, and then I'm just going to use 6mm jump rings to string my hearts together. So I'm just going to open my jump ring, so I'm going to twist my jump ring open, and I've got some hearts here that I've already made, and I'm just going to pop the jump ring through the loop on one of those hearts, and then I'm going to put my other heart on, and I'm going to make sure that my textured sides are facing up, so that when we sort of wear it, you're not going to get one smooth side and then one textured side if you have textured your hearts. I'm just going to close my jump ring up like that, and then we are ready to add the chain. You can make as many hearts in your necklace as you'd like, or just keep making lots of hearts and wear it as a bracelet instead. So to finish my necklace, I've cut myself 2 lengths of chain to go on each side of my hearts, and I sort of measured that by measuring my heart section and then figuring out how long I want my necklace to be and cutting the rest of my chain to meet the length. And I've also got my clasps and jump rings to attach it all together. So I am simply just going to open my jump ring and pop my heart on like that, and then I shall attach one end of my chain and close my jump ring up. Like that. And then you just repeat that on the other side as well. So So I'm just going to open my jump ring up like that and pop on my heart and add my chain and close. And now that's all that's left to do is to attach my clasp. So I'm just going to use a jump ring to attach the clasp and then add a jump ring to the other side to fasten it to. There we go, I have added the clasp now and our necklace is finished. There we go. I have also made it in copper. This was kind of my trial piece before I got started on the silver plated wire. And I have made my own jump rings on this occasion to join my hearts together, and I didn't texturize the metal, I just hammered it with the sort of flat head. And this metal is really soft, the copper is really soft, so I definitely needed to use the sort of the thinner wire in the middle there to help hold it together. Because I didn't have a chain to match the copper hearts, I've sort of made my own chain. I've used some really sort of autumnal coloured beads, and I've made myself some wrapped loops on some copper wire to build out my chain length, which is really, really pretty. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. A little bit of a different tutorial for me. But until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.